Hey, what's going on, guys? Kaoiji here. So we just got another huge information drop regarding even more about Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis or PSO2 NGS. Luckily enough, this seems to be answering a lot of the questions that we've had previously regarding a lot of the way that fashion is going to work, as well as some of the other things, such as Meseta and the player shops. But anyway, let's just go over it all. So first things first, I'm going to be leaving a link down in the description below with the previous two information drops, as well as this one. Now, regarding the personal shops and trade items for PSO2 NGS, they say that items obtained through PSO2 NGS are only going to be marketable through the NGS personal shop system, and then items obtained in PSO2 are only going to be marketable through the PSO2 personal shop system. Everything else pretty much remains the same, except for the fact that now there's two different markets, one for PSO2 and one for NGS. Also, there will be no trading between players in PSO2 New Genesis. The only system that's going to be involved now is the personal shop system. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm kind of okay with this, mainly because Global hasn't had the ability to trade forever. So we're like veterans at this point. So one thing that we did know before is that weapons and units will be transferring over to New Genesis, but we didn't know in what way. And now we have those answers. With the first line being, items obtained in PSO2, such as weapons and units, will be modified during use in PSO2 NGS. Changes will be reverted during the use in PSO2 and will be the same as before. They then begin to give us a table saying that items that are rarities 1 through 6 are going to be 1-star rarity weapons. Rarity weapons that are 7 through 12 are going to be 2 stars, 13 to 14 are going to be 3-star, and then 15-star rarity weapons are going to be 4-star weapons. At the launch of PSO2 NGS, weapons will in fact only have a maximum rarity of 4-star. They then say that equipment requirements for classes will be changed according to PSO2 NGS class specifications for each weapon category. That pretty much means that some of the items that are going to be 15 stars, that now get converted into 4 stars, we may have to wait to be able to equip them. They also let us know that equipment extension and unit timed abilities performed that only will function in PSO2. They will not be able to function in PSO2 New Genesis. Items from PSO2 are only able to be sold within PSO2. They're not able to be sold at NPC shops or even personal shops in New Genesis. And then pretty much any weapon that we are then taking from PSO2 over to New Genesis is going to have some very slightly different effects. The new maximum enhancement cap in NGS will be 40, so any weapon that you bring over from PSO2 that's already at level 35 or for units level 10 will automatically be brought up to enhancement level 40 during use in Phantasy Star New Genesis. They also say that weapon elements and element levels will be negated and set to level 0 during use in PSO2 New Genesis as well. Then also weapons that are obtained in PSO2 will be slightly different in PSO2 New Genesis. And then obviously weapons obtained in New Genesis will only be able to be used there. They will not be able to transfer in PSO2. So far to me, this is all pretty standard stuff, things that we've already known before, but it's nice to have a little bit more clarification because before it was a little bit confusing on which weapons and what will transfer over. So it seems like all of the weapons that we're going to be able to have in Phantasy Star Online will in fact be able to transfer over. So anything that you guys are working on now will be able to transfer over. So all of you veterans and even new players, you guys will be pretty much set when it comes to getting into New Genesis, because it looks like anybody will at least have their progress then converted into New Genesis. Whether or not they're going to be able to use those long term is completely up to the style of the game that's going to be and what other new weapons are going to be available. But it definitely is a sigh of relief for a lot of players. Then finishing up the conversation, weapon and unit augments obtained in PSO2 will be changed to PSO2 New Genesis augments that correlate to some extent with their original abilities or stats. So some augments may not even exist, or they'll at least be matched into something that's similar or close to something that's already available in NGS. And the same thing goes with S-grade augments. They'll be negated and then something will be replacing them, whether it be something close to the original ability or just stats. And then a lot of the conversation that has been sparking controversy even as we speak is some of the changes that are going to be done to fashion. We spoke about this in the last couple of videos before, but this now confirms certain things that we didn't know, or at least had questions on. So apparently this is a typo. During PSO2 NGS story cutscenes, a player character that is wearing or using PSO2 layering wear or cast parts will instead be shown or using default PSO2 outfits or cast parts. Pretty much what this is supposed to say is characters are going to be shown wearing NGS layering wear or cast parts instead of original PSO2 layering wear or cast parts. And now that leads us into shared content between PSO2 New Genesis and PSO. Obviously, we just went over weapons, but this is now talking about the character system as well as some other things. And let me tell you, things have blown up recently regarding a couple of these topics, even on the Japanese side of things. So they give us the indication that Y means yes, N equals no, and then a triangle mean it does not apply or some aspects are different. So pretty much when it comes to the system category, it looks like most things are going to be not available and shared with NGS. Obviously, we figured that your meseta is not going to be able to be transferred over. There's going to be a currency by the name of N meseta. Character overhead displays are going to be different at NGS, so they will not be shared with PSO2. Display titles kind of, in my opinion, lumps in with the previous one, so that's not going to be shared in NGS as well. PSO2 NPC affinities, as well as available partner characters, those available via partner cards from episodes 1 through 4. None of those are going to be available when it comes to NGS. That one's a little bit curious to me because it makes me wonder if maybe event partner cards will be available, such as the Phantasy Star Universe ones, maybe PSO, and so on and so forth. But only time will tell there. I'm just going to assume that none of them are going to transfer over and we're going to be using an entirely different system, or just not having partner characters at all. So now we move on to the character part. None of this is really too different from what we already know. Face, hair, and body settings are going to be transferred between PSO2 New Genesis as well as original. However, the gender aspect will be different, and this is something we already knew, but they're confirming it here, saying there is no gender concept in NGS. Characters created in PSO2 that are used for the first time in NGS will have this character information generated as type 1 for males and type 2 for females. Pretty much nothing else about your character is going to be transferring over, and meaning class information, EXP earned, skill tree, added skill trees, used item boost status, event items, and auxiliary information. Now, if you saw what I said, that added skill tree information isn't going to be transferring over. That means additional skill trees that were purchased in PSO2 will not be able to be used in Phantasy Star New Genesis, and this is already causing a little bit of a problem, but then it doesn't stop there. Now this leads us into the action items category, where basically palette configuration, learned photon arts and techniques, they're not going to be transferring over. Equipable weapon information will be different between PSO2 and GS, so that's basically something that we've been over already. Same thing with units, pets, and equipable skill rings. That's basically something that we went over already as well. Those are part of the summoner class, so they're not going to be transferring over. Then you also have fashion information such as hairstyles, outfits, layering wear, accessories, and etc. All of those will be transferring over between the two games. Owned items in your inventory, some of them will transfer over as well. However, inventory expansion, if applicable, is marked as no. This doesn't really, I feel like this one is a little bit too vague here, because from what it sounds like to me is that we're going to need to buy inventory expansions again, but a lot of players are saying that that's not what that means over on the Japanese side. But I'm not gonna lie to you, no one actually knows. So before I jump on this one, I'm going to pull back real quick and just say we'll find out when New Genesis comes out. But they then move on to say that character storage contents and character storage expansion, if applicable, will transfer over between PSO2 and New Genesis. Affinity gauge of items in character storage or inventory will also transfer over. So this is meaning like your fashion when it comes to getting star gems. Then locked items and stealth units won't be able to be transferred over between the two, mainly because it'll be locked in PSO2 New Genesis or PSO2. Now, mag information, luckily enough, does transfer over to New Genesis, but only information regarding used mag devices will be shared. And we know this already because what's going on in New Genesis is that mags are no longer stat sticks. They basically have a more passive role, so mostly just fashion pieces at this point. I went over this in some of the previous NGS videos, so if you guys want to go check those out, I'll leave those down in the description below as well. Then with your salon stuff, everything transfers over there, and then basically everything that's in your quest unlock status, gathering, crafting, personal quarters, and personal shop will only be able to be tied between their respective games, which is PSO2 New Genesis and PSO2 Original. Your alliance enrollment status and your position with your alliance is going to be able to be transferred over between New Genesis and PSO, which is cool. There's also one thing that we noted before is that there's going to be communication between the two. So you'll be able to talk to players who are playing Phantasy Star while also being in New Genesis. Then pretty much everything for friends and communication stays the same as everything that's going on now. You still have all your messages, receipts, sent and received tracked here. Your ARCS ID settings and everything about that, those are going to be gone entirely in New Genesis because of the way that friend avatars no longer work the way that they did before. And going back to your storage, default, extended, one-time password, and pickup storage. All of that's going to be available between the two games. This hopefully means we get one-time password storage in global. And then whenever you use a color change pass or a salon pass or premium, when it comes to your salon, that's going to be able to be edited in both NGS and PSO2. And the timer that'll allow you to be able to change things will still persist between both games. Obviously, your collection folders, crafting orders, and casino won't be able to be transferred over to NGS. Your saved looks and your lookbook are going to be able to transfer between both. And then most things about your player will be able to be transferred over between both, with the exception of the encyclopedia list, which details all of your weapons and units that you've acquired throughout your game, acquired titles, fun point balance, challenge miles balance, battle points, buster medals, buster quest grade, dark blast unlock, personal quarters, expanded collection files, extreme pass distribution, and then expanded client orders. None of those are going to be able to be transferred over into New Genesis. And now we lead into salon content, which right now this is one that's causing a ton of controversy in the Japanese side of things. Hey, what's going on, guys? Post Editing Mark here. So I basically had something that I was going to say regarding this topic, because as you can see here on screen, it says that fashion items are usable on all characters, and that was marked as no. This was actually done in error on the Japanese side of things, and then translation was also done in error. It wasn't fixed in the translation. All of your items will in fact be able to be transferred over into New Genesis. It says yes for ticket items that have been used twice. All of that will be able to be used on all of your characters. So the fashion system still has not changed in this regard. There's not going to be a one ticket system. This is actually just something that's going to be really cool, and it'll pretty much be no different from what you guys are already used to. So for those of you guys who missed it, the Japanese player base actually like blew up really quick, and I was talking about it earlier in the video as well, saying that that wasn't the big thing that was going to happen. But a lot of players really assumed that this was going to mean that there was going to be a one ticket system, or that ticket items are only going to be able to be used on a single character. And you would not believe the amount of backlash that they immediately saw. So this was actually just done in error, and you know, it's no harm, no foul at this point. So now I have to change the entire ending of the video, because I did go on a little bit of a rant really quick, because I also was just like, Argh! But anyway, so the final little bit of information is that all of your graphics items are going to be pretty much displayed between both, or shared between both, with some notifications being slightly different. Another big thing is that they say that text display is going to be non-applicable between both versions of the game. And the main reason there is because that both games are going to actually have two different texts, which more than likely means that they're just going to have two different display settings. And then with that, basically what I was going to say in the original video was that I wasn't happy that there was going to be a one ticket system, but now I can just get rid of all that, because now it doesn't matter. So I'm very happy with a lot of the changes that are happening in Phantasy Star New Genesis, and some of the things that are going to be then transferred over means that we don't really necessarily lose everything that we're currently working on now in Phantasy Star Online. I'm still going to sign to the theory that because of the nature of certain items in Phantasy Star Online, it will in fact continue to transfer over into New Genesis. But realistically thinking, a lot of the reasons why things won't be able to transfer over to New Genesis is not only just because these systems are so different, but then also the lore there as well is that Phantasy Star New Genesis is 1,000 years into the future. So any weapons that are already available in New Genesis, you obviously can't go back in time. You're really only going forward in time, I guess. This is just me, you know, trying to fill in, because now I just needed to get rid of the rant that I had. But anyway, guys, thank you guys again for watching. I'm gonna end this video out here. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, are you excited about New Genesis now that you know some of the new information that's going to be happening and things that are going to be transferring over? Are you a little bit more at ease at your progress when it comes to PSO, or are you still on the fence about progressing further other than just buying fashion? Anyway, thank you guys again for watching. As always, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, you know, the classic YouTube stuff. But anyway, stay awesome, stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.